So do you want to call the meeting to order, Anne or Ellie, since we don't have a chair or vice chair present?
Certainly, absolutely, we can. And I guess we can go through just sort of a roll call. I know that you were naming who was online, April, but
Oh, sure.
so if people in the room want to kick that off.
So if everyone wants to introduce themselves.
Sure, I'll go first. Jacob Krisovich, disability.
Jacob is from the disabled community.
Thank you.
And Debbie Lane. I'm here representing AARP.
Hello, my name is Matt Mays. I work for the Montana Department of Transportation. I'm the ADA coordinator for that organization.
Other members online care to introduce themselves?
My name is Bobby.
City Commission.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Bobby and Reed.
Dr. G, Tom, and Jovan Wagner online as well.
Wonderful. Thank you both for joining us today.
I
For those of you that maybe don't know all of us stuff, I'm Ellie Ray. I'm Senior Planner with the City of Helena.
And I'm Chris Brink, City's Community Development Director. I'm Troy Sampson, Community Facilities Director.
And Pichette, Housing Coordinator. And April Sparks, Admin for the Community Development Department.
So the first sort of business today, given that we have neither our chair nor our vice chair in attendance, is to just elect officers for the purposes of this meeting. Would anybody like to put themselves forward as chair to run the meeting for today? Or nominate somebody to do it if they wish. Any takers? No?
I can do it, but I need to pull up the agenda. I don't know the points of order.
Oh, not to worry, not a problem. Any seconds to Jacob?
Oh, I'll second it.
Jacob, would it help you if we just
Tell me with the,
read the
Yeah, that would be helpful.
introduction?
You just
Putting
tell
up
me.
on the screen as well.
yeah, if you guys can just tell me as they come up, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, Jacob.
That way, otherwise I'd have to take a minute now and pull it up. Normally I do pull it up, but
All of those willing to vote for Jacob Krisovich as the acting chair for the purposes of today's meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please say nay. All right, Jacob.
what is our first point of order now that we've done roll call?
So we do have a quorum, correct, April?
We do.
With the 4 members, wonderful, okay. Given that that's the case, Jacob, we can move forward with approval of minutes from the September 17th meeting, which unfortunately shows here as year 2025, so that's incorrect. Apologies. I was a little trigger happy when I did that. So September 17th, 2024 minutes.
Right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I haven't had a chance to read them
Okay,
because they weren't
I
online.
forgot to post them online.
I see, okay.
I'm sorry. And then apparently I put today's date as 2024 for the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
okay.
we're both of like mind.
I
The
could,
month of January is always fun, sorry. Just New Year.
so do we want to move to table those for the time being for the next meeting?
Certainly, we can do that,
Do
absolutely.
we have any
Hi,
motions?
I will move to table the minutes from last month to next month, so everyone has a chance to read them.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those on Zoom?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Wonderful.
All right, then our next point of order.
Is to moving along to regular items. So the first item under regular items, Jacob, is the ADA concern / complaint status report.
Okay, do we have any complaints?
We do. So we have been working with a complainant over the past, let's say, probably month now. We received a complaint on December 17th, and it was regarding the fact that we do not have an accessible golf cart over at Bill Roberts Golf Course. This is something that our staff and community development were unaware of. However, there is a need under the ADA, and even it's stated as much in our transition plan that we do provide such a service for members of the community. So In short, the City Parks, Recs and Open Lands Department will be working on procurement of said device.
Fantastic.
Yes, so we are moving forward with that. We provided the complainant with notice of the steps we are going to be taking at the city to rectify this issue and have not heard back from them whether they have an issue and want to request reconsideration of the issue. So fingers crossed, hopefully they are satisfied with the letter that we issued them on the 7th of January this year. So that is the update on that. Anybody has any
Fantastic. That
questions?
is great news.
Yep. Yep.
Do you have any questions? All right, seeing none. Do we have any other complaints?
No, that was the only one received between September 17th and the issuance of this memo, which was from last week. So
Fantastic. Thank you, Ellie. What's our next item on the agenda?
the next regular item, Jacob, is just a quick update on the fiscal year 2025 transition plan review. And Anne Pichette was going to talk about this, possibly with support from Troy Sampson.
So, hello, everybody. This is Anne. You can share data. It looks like April's starting to pull up the website. But for those of you who are on Zoom at home, you can also maybe pull it up easier on your own computers off of the community development website. And this is just as the start of the calendar year, just a reminder that the transition plan that exists, you can see the full thing from 2017 on the website. But as a reminder, each year, city staff has been running updates on it to give everybody in the public and this committee as well, updates on what projects have been completed through the process. So it is kind of a lengthy spreadsheet to go through, but it is sorted alphabetically. So hopefully that's helpful. Like Barney Park is toward the top, if that's a good example for everyone. So I just wanted to give everybody a reminder that this is available in case you're interested or you know someone who is interested in seeing what work's been completed, what work is budgeted for future budget cycles. And so it's available there on the website, as are previous year's updates. And just a reminder, it runs on the city's fiscal year, so it's possible there are some projects that have been done like July and August before the weather got bad that may not be reflected on this spreadsheet because each year they do the fiscal year updates. And as a side note, I'd just like to let you know that we've got directors meeting quarterly to do updates and prepare for future budget cycles to make sure we've got projects going into the budget going forward. That's my update, unless anyone has questions for me.
Any questions? Troy, did you have anything to add?
I don't, I just, I guess I could just say, working with Ann and Kyle from their office, we've been going around and just double checking some of the work, making sure that it was completed. We still have a long list of items to take care of, and I think just refreshing all of our engagement with the transition plan to make sure we get critical items in our budget sooner rather than later. Sometimes they don't always flush out to the top when it comes to budgeting, but we're really focusing on that now to make sure that we get those projects at the top of our to-do list.
Fantastic. All right, any other questions? Comments? All right, what's our next item?
We are done now with regular items, Jacob. So the next item is public comment, if there is any from either Matt Mays or Dr. G.
We have Commissioner Reed's hand raised.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner.
Sorry, it took me a moment to find it. Just a quick question. I think we had a standing item on enforcement, and I know the overview was adjacent to that, but I'm wondering if we do have any updates on the enforcement conversation that's been ongoing or the updates to code that we've been hearing about. Thank you.
To my knowledge, Commissioner, no, but I'll let Chris chime in case he's started anything at the leadership level.
Thank you, Commissioner. No updates right now. I know our legal staff are going through enforcement as a whole and are proposing some changes as how we do enforcement across the board. But I do not have a current update from Matt or Becky at the moment. I do apologize.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments from anybody?
Just a second here. So we do have hand raised, Jovan Wagner. Just a moment, I can allow her to talk. Go ahead, Jovan.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Jovan.
Okay, hi, yeah, so sorry, didn't know if this was like the best place to ask. I was just wondering how often this transition plan is updated? And like the process of like submitting something for it, if that's like city staff, on the city staff side. Sorry, yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Jovan. Do you want me to take it? So Jovan, in, I want to say it was 2015, please somebody try, correct me if I'm wrong. The city employed the services of what is now WGT TG Group, and they're a consultant firm based out of Chicago, if I remember correctly. And basically they were tasked with going through all of the city's existing facilities, the buildings that we own, as well as some of our parks, all of our parks really. And they were basically taking a peek at every item to see if it was in compliance with the ADA from a code standpoint. All those deficiencies are in that master spreadsheet that has over 100 and can't remember 105-ish pages. It's a massive spreadsheet. And it's effectively like a punch list of all the items that need attention to bring those elements of those facilities into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we have been working through that since it was formally adopted in 2017. The work continues. Just before a lockdown happened in 2020. We had that group come out again from Chicago and do an assessment of the Law and Justice Center, which had been more recently acquired by the city and county, as well as our parking structures and surface parking lots in the downtown, just to assess compliance with those. The date that happened again was early 2020. So we're to complete everything within 10 years of the date that the transition plan was adopted. We are working toward it. The city manager has stated that addressing these ADA issues is a priority for the city. So we are hopeful that we will continue to make progress toward completion of that and rectifying all of the deficiencies that were found. It's probably more information than you wanted, Jovan, but if I didn't explain well enough, do let me know.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is that 10 years from 2015 or from 2020?
From the time of adoption in 2017. For the elements that were assessed in 2020, you get 10 years from that date.
Or
Those are sort of an addendum to the original plan. Sorry, Jacob.
or what? Is that realistically a soft target and there's no consequences, or is there some sort of consequences, I suppose, or penalties if you do not meet that date?
So I mean, we haven't ventured into that territory before, but I don't know how best to encapsulate what happens come 2027, Chris.
So we would not be in compliance with federal law. They've given us a grace period to comply with ADA requirements relative to city facilities infrastructure.
Mhm.
So in a sense, at that point, Department of Justice would view us as not compliant with ADA.
Okay.
Consequences, I can't speak to that.
Okay.
It would make us not in compliance,
May result in funding issues and things like that, potentially.
possibly.
Okay. Could I ask a follow-up question
Absolutely.
about just the whole? guess it's multifaceted. Circling back to Commissioner Reed's question about code enforcement, we were told that it was a priority, and we're only like a month away from when we were told that it was gonna be underway and a priority. And so at this rate, it kind of is following my projected timeline in my head of not actually coming to any real fruition. And then so I was just wondering, would it be possible? I'm just acting chair for one meeting, so I don't really have any real authority here. But would it be possible to have the city attorney come give us another update in person, as she's the one directly working on it, and could answer more targeted, pointed questions?
Absolutely, Jacob. I think that we should put her back on the agenda. Thank you, Commissioner Reed, for reminding us that that was intended to be a standing item. But we'll definitely make sure that that is on the March meeting agenda.
Okay, that'd be
We
fantastic.
can get an update right from the horse's mouth.
Okay.
We know that they have been actively working on it. It's just, I don't know that there's been any movement to speak of that we can share, as they're just being diligent and trying to, I think, go through all of this adopted city code
Mhm.
and see where there's a need to change things and structurally how that's going to shake out.
Yep, I totally get that. I just love to hear the process behind it, how they're coming at it, just because there's so many city codes that realistically, like, I don't know, I was on Zoom last meeting when we discussed it, so it was kind of hard to really advocate or push for much, but you know, if you're looking at all of them collectively, I mean, realistically, it's gonna take years if you can ever truly accomplish that. Whereas if we were able to prioritize the ones related to ADA and then get those done and a code enforcement place, a system in place for that, and then start tackling the other ones, then you know, we have a realistic shot at actually getting something tangible done. So it would just be nice to be able to speak with her directly about those concerns.
Sure, we will put her on notice to be available or have one of her staff available for the March meeting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah. Happy to. Are there any additional public comments? Well, Chair. The next item is member communication / proposals for the next agenda, of which we already have the enforcement one had.
Okay.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to specifically speak to? We could certainly at the next meeting as well, also just gauge people's interest in hearing from various different departments, again, much like last year, whether it's transportation or parks for their, so it would now be sort of an annual update, as it were. But
Well, on the sidewalks, they had missed some. Did they ever go back and fix them? You know, the corners.
oh, they were refining it. They were, I know that the Transportation Systems Department were going back. You're talking about with the new system that they have with the ADAPT software, correct, Debbie?
Yes.
Yes, and Matt Mays might know more than I do, because I know, no, you haven't been talking to Dave about this on the regular? They have been going back and investigating all the areas where there were discrepancies or just weird situations where there might have been, say, gravel along the sidewalk that was causing there to be presenting as an issue that didn't actually exist in reality once something got cleaned up. So I know that they were working on that, and I believe this past fall they were able to complete the review for the walking mall with that same software. So certainly, maybe we could try to tee up for May that Dave Kanapke come in and give an update from that and any other relevant projects.
Yeah, because they were redoing all the corners and putting that like plastic stuff and down to the ground so wheelchairs and walkers could get up easily and
For the
stuff.
reps, yeah.
But the people that we contracted with had missed some of them or something when they went and checked.
It could have happened. There were definitely some issues that were
And I
raised
just
in my-
wondered if that was followed through and it's all corrected or.
I believe that they manually went through and corrected that, but we'll let Dave speak to that for sure. Sorry, Director Kanapke, for those who are unfamiliar with him. Anything else under this item? We do also, just for what it's worth, do we still have a vacancy, April?
We do still have
For
a
medical
vacancy
professional?
for a medical field representative. So if you know anyone in the medical field who would be good to serve on this committee, please encourage them to apply through the city clerk's office.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
speaking.
I apologize, I didn't see your hand.
And I came in late. I apologize for coming in late. I tried to do Zoom and that's my error. I just could not get Zoom to work, so I rushed down here so I could be here. My name is Abigail Dolan and I'm the new program manager of the BID, which is the Business Improvement District. I'm fairly new to the position, coming up on 6 months. I don't know. Between 3 to 6 months. It feels like it's 6 months. I don't know. But I went to How the Helena and I realized we don't have like a person in listening in these committees. So I hope to be here at the committees just to listen and to learn. And the biggest thing that came up with How the Helena is that I realized we don't have a proper fire evacuation and safety evacuation for our downtown events. So we arranged a meeting with Dave Knopke and the Lou and the police chief to kind of update that evacuation for everybody. And so I was wondering if I could potentially bring that to the March agenda as a draft to get your input on it, if that's okay. It's just the reason why it came to my, like, I feel like it's high in my agenda is our downtown events are growing. And with that, I mean, DHI is also separate businesses took on the events and we are trying to do a overall one evacuation plan that they can modify and tweak so it's easier for them to put on the events. But with creating that, I want to create it for everybody and make sure that it's safer because we just put on Parade of Lights and that was honestly a disaster. Like it was so great because so many people came down, but it was a disaster as like if something went wrong, I feel like it could have led to not a great response just because it was so packed and crowded. So with our hope is creating this new evacuation plan and new safety plan. It's not a one size fits all, but it's like a template. And so I was hoping I could probably bring it for the March agenda for input. That's right.
Abigail, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking up and bringing that to us. That's awesome. Is that, Ellie, is that something that requires a vote or is that just something we can add?
I think you as acting chair, if you feel like that's worthy of addition in the March meeting, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Abigail.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming to join us and wanting to loop this committee into that
Sorry,
conversation.
my ear. I just don't know Zoom.
No, it's okay. It's
I
okay.
know I'm like 20 something. I should know Zoom, but
Your office is a little wonky anyway.
actually locked Zoom out after 2020. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So do
Thank you.
you want to invite those people here in March?
I
or-
will invite them as well. It's just the reason we're having this meeting when we're having it is, as you probably know, it's very hard to nail down all three in one room together. And it took a lot of, not threats, but like persuasions. But I'm happy to have them in one room, so hopefully they can come to the committee as well. So we're just trying to get like a template, like a base plan, so then that way we can kind of get them to come to more meetings as all of them at once, so we're all on the same page. So I will invite them for sure.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, Director Kanapke is invited to these meetings. He probably didn't attend today because he has a conflict or something else came up, but we'll make sure that they're given the invitation for the March meeting, he and Lou Antonik. And then in the course of that conversation, Dave might want to talk about just the special events permitting
Okay.
that they're doing, because it kind of dovetails into that too. So perfect.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Just make sure we can approach that from an EDA stance and, you know, just the disabled stance, make sure it works, like you said, for everyone. So thank you so much for thinking of the committee.
Oh, yeah, thinking of everyone. So I mean, I would like to attend events safely too.
Appreciate it. Anything else? Anyone wishes to bring up? Well, with that, Jacob, you are welcome to adjourn the meeting.
All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
We'll see if you get volunteered again, Jacob.
Right? I'm kind of used to being the